Well, the dreaded musical episode of Strange New Worlds came and went. I'm not a fan of musicals to begin with. There's some exceptions. Wizard of Oz, it's clearly a musical, but for whatever reason, I just never saw it as one. But that's just how good it is. This was not the case for Star Trek, even though, technically speaking, weird things happened, and sometimes for comedic purposes they would do this in all the versions of Trek, but never blatant like this. And they're in no position to jump out on a limb, if you can even call it that. You just know that the people in charge just don't get Trek at all, and they don't want to, and they don't have the ability to, because like I've always said, you don't have to be a Star Trek fan. You just have to be a professional producer and artist in the business of television. You've got this genre or this franchise, what have you, and you need to study it and understand it. Now, there's obviously bells and whistles here they toss around thinking that covers it, but you got to make your shows good. And oftentimes, like a constant, like Major Grin is really good at this by showing obviously at this point the continuity no longer matters because they've admitted it's alternate timeline and stuff like that. Which was obvious, but they just never said it until recently. And so, okay, but they can't even maintain their own continuity, and that was true of STD, and it's true here about Spock's what is it, guitar lute thing. Which they'd already established he had in STD. They had it in the previous season of At Strange New Worlds, and then they do this episode where Mbenga introduces it to him. But just goes to show you, it's not just about disrespecting Star Trek. They can't even respect themselves. And so they do things that they are comfortable with, that they think they can handle, and they really can't. So now this is, they think it would be cool to have everybody sing. And wouldn't that be nice? And give the actors to spread their wings creatively to do this, And some of them weren't bad at singing. I'm assuming it's their voice. In some cases, it clearly is. Spock clearly is his voice. I guess Lady Khan was the better singer of the batch. I can't believe I'm coming to like this girl. And I think a lot of it is just I kind of feel sorry for her that she's in this position. Because I've seen potential in her performances, and just hope for her sake, she gets something better elsewhere. Odds are won't happen. A lot of this stuff is like CW people. They never escape it, really, or go on to greater things. But anyway, the Chapel girl had this number that I guess she was competent at it. I don't know. The problem is after one or two, the song starts and I skipped ahead. I couldn't do it. And I mean, the bulk of the episode, what is it? It's carrying on their soap opera lines that they've established about relationships. So there's Pike and his girlfriend, which they really clearly don't care about. But they threw that in there just so Pike could do something. Which, he was the reason for the series to begin with. And they just don't utilize him. And to the detriment of the show and to the character, just being wasted. This whole season, you got one Pike episode. One. So the rest of it is Spock and Christine and Lady Khan and Kirk. Kirk shows up again. At this point, since it's out of continuity, they might as well make him a member of the crew. But anyway, so it's Lady Khan, and then number one says, "Girl, I know you got the hots for Kirk. It's so hot, it's making me sweat," which is really inappropriate. It's like, what is she saying? She's getting turned on by their attraction for each other. I just want to sit back and watch you too. It's like, what the hell? So at one point there's like a scene where she's jealous that Kirk and number one, but Kirk is just really loves the girls, so he's always rather flirty and complimentary to them. And but Lady Khan fell in love with an alternate version of him, and she still has strong feelings for him, and she does this well and all that. But then of course it goes into the song where I have to say what I feel. Oh God. And so eventually she does. She tells Kirk what happened. And that's the thing, is that they're all aware of time travel and even the rules of, hey, you better not tell me what happened because that's violating the rules of timeline or whatever. So she does, and he's obviously attracted to her, and he's a little flirty because that's what Kirk does. But he says, look, yeah, I'm flattered, but the thing of it is, I'm sort of in a relationship. And so they drop they do take this to make hey, look, we're going to drop a bell and whistle from the original Star Trek and all that. And he says that he's involved with a woman named Carol. So, it's Carol Marcus and all that. And then the next shoe to drop says, well, she's pregnant. So he's like saying we're on again, off again, so I'm kind of in a relationship. No, you got her pregnant. And he's like, look, I'm telling you, I'm keeping the door open here. And then he says, hey, you might even like Carol. She's quite the gal and all this stuff. So poor Lady Khan is like, crap, And so that's that. So she kind of gets her heart broken. And so she goes back to her BFF number one, and she says, but you know what, I think it was the right thing for me to be open and stuff, and I can't be closed off so much. And so that's her lesson. Meanwhile, Spock and Christine finally gets accepted in some science academy thing, and so once again she's leaving the ship, and Spock is upset about it, but they don't quite resolve that one as much as they did Kirk and Lady Khan. But I mean, seemingly resolving it, and they'll put them together again because they don't know what else to do with these characters. They've yet really to let them explore a strange new world. So they don't understand science fiction and know what to do with it. They just know to have bright lights and stuff. The Klingons show up, but it's all part of their grand finale Xanadu-like song. And I skipped through that too. But the premise of it, why were they singing? They encountered this weird anomaly in space. They think there's an entity there. They try to communicate with it, and suddenly they understand maybe music is the way to communicate with it. But they'd already done this. Uhura had done that with, remember, this is where George Kirk was nearly killed, and it was the thing on the moon. They needed to open the thing, and they had to sing for the thing. I don't remember either, but they did it. So it's the same concept here, and Uhura's all happy because she's all musical and stuff, and she's, of course, figures out this is because she's their communication officer and all that. So she gets them, you all have to sing together in this one big song. We're an ensemble. And so anyway, there you go. But see, you had to watch it because then you wouldn't know how things worked out for Kirk and Lady Khan and Spock and Christine. And, Pike and his girlfriend, whoever she is. You're going to be so lost for the next episode, which thankfully is the final one for this season, So, this season had one good episode. It did. I'll give them that one. Granted, it's the only Pike episode they did. But it's not great, of course, but for their abilities, it was. And it was pretty much as close to a Star Trek episode as you'll get. The introduction of Lady Khan and Kirk was interesting unto itself, and the performances were okay. But overall, the story was kind of stupid. It wasn't that great. Not as good as the Lotus Eaters episode with Pike and all that. But it did eventually say, yeah, this time travel shenanigans has created an alternate reality and blah, blah, blah. So, you get that. But other than that, the season appears to be a complete and total bust. And boy, will the final episode round it out and really lead to something extremely dubious. So, but you got one episode and a sort of half-assed one. So that's better than the first season, and it's better of all of STD. So, yay.